Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Dallas ISD Bond 2020 um, community meeting and listening session for the replacement school for Herbert Marcus Elementary School. We're so excited to have you joining us today. And I will pause at this time for our interpreter to come in and give instructions on how to participate in Spanish.
Buenas noches a todos. Si desea escuchar esta presentación en español, puede seleccionar la opción en español en la parte inferior derecha de la pantalla, en el mundo. Si por algún motivo no escucha al intérprete, regresa al inglés y vuelva a intentar la opción en español. Si aún no funciona, por favor nos avisa a través del chat. Desafortunadamente, la opción de interpretación al español no es compatible con las computadoras Chromebook. Le recomendamos que intente entrar utilizando un teléfono celular, ya sea iPhone o Android, una computadora PC, iPad o tablet, para escuchar la reunión en español. Gracias.
Thank you so much. And again, my name is Jacqueline Bell, and it's my pleasure to host tonight's meeting on behalf of the Bond Department. We're here to see a presentation about the replacement school provided by Bond 2020 funds for Herbert Marcus Elementary School. We're excited to have you here. There'll be opportunities for you to participate both through polls and by asking questions. We do ask that so that we'll make sure we're not having interference, that if you're not asking a question or speaking, to please make sure that you stay on, your microphone stays on mute. If you need to ask a question when it's time to do so, you'll be able to do so either by simply asking a question in the chat room, or by going, if in the lower right-hand screen, you will see a reactions button. You can raise your hand and we'll get your question, go to you so you can ask the question live. With that being said, it's now my pleasure to introduce and present for opening remarks the principal of this fantastic school. Go ahead, principal.
Good evening, everyone. It's a tremendous pleasure to be here on our third community meeting with all of you. I see a lot of very familiar faces. Thank you, teachers that are joining us, and as well as parents. Teachers, if you're joining and receiving messages that the Facebook Live is not working, today we are only going to have it through Zoom. So please tell the parents that the link has already been posted on Facebook so they can join us here on Zoom. I'm very excited about tonight. We are going to see how the architect firm that has been working for Bond 2020, Dallas ISD, and Marcus has received all of the ideas from the community, from the parents, from the school, and how they have mailed these suggestions into designs that are going to represent the desire that we have as a community to make Marcus Leadership Academy a beacon of light in our community. The designs that will be presented tonight, I'm sure that they are going to speak to our hearts and address some of the concerns and some of the suggestions and some of the wants that we have for our future school. I'm very excited about tonight. So what I ask is that we actively participate and engage with the architect firm so that they can really capture everything from the designs that they're going to present. As you know, and we discuss often at Marcus, feedback is a gift, and it's a gift that is meant to get everybody together, united under a single purpose, and for us to move Marcus to be the best school ever. So without further ado, Ms. Bell.
Thank you so much. And thank you not just for your opening remarks today, but thank you for what you do every day for our learners and our learning community at Marcus. You're doing a phenomenal job, and we appreciate it, especially during these difficult times. And at this point in time, we also have the executive director for this particular community schools on the call. Mr. Cordoba, if you would like to make opening remarks at this time, it's your time to do so.
Thank you, Ms. Bell, and of course, Mr. Romero, Dr. Flores, and so community, teachers, community from Marcus. We're excited to be able to be here tonight. I have seen the journey for the last 18 months as the supervisor over Marcus, and I've been thrilled about the engagement. I've been thrilled about the progress and all the great things that are taking place there are Marcus. And so we're excited to continue to implement Leader in Me, and really with the ultimate goal to be a lighthouse school. And so with that, we always want to be beacons of hope for our community. And so you will see that some of those pieces that we always speak about, that with everything that we do, we want to be that beacon of hope for our community, but also that lighthouse where we are a safe haven for our students. And so you will see that also in the design. So we're excited about tonight, and thank you so much for making time for being here. So I appreciate you guys for giving me a quick second to address the community.
Thank you, Executive Director Cordoba, and thank you for your leadership during these difficult times. You're certainly making a difference in the lives of so many families today, and we appreciate that. This campus and Dallas ISD as a whole is so fortunate to have a dedicated and knowledgeable trustee in the form of Dr. Edwin Flores, who embraces learning and helps to move the district forward every day with his leadership. Trustee Flores, would you like to make remarks at this time?
Sure, I'll be very brief. First of all, thank you everybody for joining us. We really, want your input, want to be able to get the feedback and implement that into the final facility. And we want to thank the taxpayers, of course, and the voters for supporting the 2020 bond and for helping us pay for this school. It's going to be a fantastic school. I think that under the leadership, the current leadership, the Principal Romero is outstanding. They're doing a great job moving the needle forward for kids, and with this new facility, learning will be that much better. I should also point out that this process of getting this feedback and having this feedback loop is actually relatively new. In the 2008 bond, basically, when they gave us the final design, that's when the community first found out about it. And we decided, the trustees and I said, we need to get the community engaged. As you know, the week after the bond passed, we had our first community meetings about these new schools, and then the architects were engaged. They're doing a fantastic job, and getting this feedback back to them. There'll be on-campus feedback and opportunities throughout this process, but we really are very grateful for all of you for participating, and again, for the voters and taxpayers for supporting it. Thank you very much.
And thank you again, Trustee Flores, for your leadership and your dedication to Dallas ISD, to our students, our family, our staff, and to making sure that we truly are a leader in public education, not just in Dallas, not just in Texas, but across the nation. We thank you. As Principal Romero alluded to the fact that we're unable to broadcast live on Facebook today, I do want to acknowledge the fact that we are recording this meeting in both English and Spanish. These recordings will be shared on our social media channels in both English and Spanish. It will also be shared on our Bond 2020 website. So there'll still be opportunity for those who are unable to join tonight to be able to go in and share their thoughts on the Bond website. We'll also have a link where you can ask questions and submit comments, and the presentation will also be posted there. So if you know someone that you don't see on the call, someone who couldn't get in, or someone said, hey, I didn't see it on Facebook, just tell them, give us a minute. It will be on Facebook. It will be on the district's YouTube channel. It will be on the Bond webpage tomorrow, no later than tomorrow. So share. With that being said, Bond 2020 is the largest bond project in the history of the state of Texas, and that's very significant. Leading our efforts to reshape and retune and revitalize, renew, and rebuild Dallas ISD schools is our Deputy Chief of Bond and Construction Services, Mr. Brent Alfred. I'm going to turn the meeting over to him. He'll be introduced to the design team, and we'll be able to move forward. Mr. Alfred.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Bell. And as always, it's an honor to be in front of the Marcus community. I believe it is a privilege to lead this bond program and to be involved with such dedicated professionals and communities serving the Dallas ISD area. I've met many times with Mr. Romero, Mr. Cordero, and Trustee Flores, of course. And, as Mr. Flores said, they wanted us to listen first before we put pen to paper. And we're following that process. And it is a new process for the 2020 bond program, which we're enjoying. That's pushing all of us to do a lot better job and deliver the building you guys deserve. So we've brought on Homfield, Hoffer, and Stanford. We have the principal with us, David Stanford, and he's going to lead us into the presentation of what we've heard from you so far, get your feedback, and respond to it. So without further ado, I'd like to turn the meeting over to David Stanford. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're very excited about this project to be able to work out and work with your community and figure out what's the best solution for the project. Can we go to the next slide? Okay, so what we're doing here is just kind of a little background information. On your existing site right now, the gray building is the two-story part of the building we're going to be keeping for our project. All of the portables for the buildings with the pink in back, those are all going to get taken out immediately when construction starts, because that's where the new building is going to be going. Once the building is completed in that location, then the kind of greenish blue area building, the other part of the existing building will be torn down, and the existing building will be renovated at some point, whether it's when the other part's being built or now, to do that. And so there's going to be some logistics as we work on the project, trying to get all these different components to work on this site to get this thing to work. So anyway, this is what we're looking at doing right now, the plan. What we've done, you can see again the existing building in gray right there. And then we've got the building kind of taken across the back side of it. You can kind of see a dashed line. That's the outline of the part of the building that's going to get torn down eventually. So what we're going to be doing with this one, we basically are building the building on the north side of the existing building. And then we're going to put in where the soccer field, play field is on the east side of the campus. We're going to put in a new drop-off drive for people driving cars, dropping kids off, and parking that will be combined with both visitor and staff parking in that area. That's something you do not have at all right now. So from now on, people won't have to pull up on North Haven and drop their kids off and let them out. The other thing we're doing too is that because of the school, we know there's a large number of students and parents that walk to school, and are mostly coming from the left-hand southwest side of the campus there. So we are also creating a new pedestrian entrance that will come in, angle in from there into a second entry point there. And this whole area around it will be fenced in. There's a new ornamental fence that goes like Cole was pointing out. They'll separate you, and you're going to be separated at least 80 feet from the street with this area, and the whole area will be enclosed. And this area, when the gates are open, let kids in and out, or whenever you want to do it, is really a nice public park area that the community could use also if the district wants to do that. We'll have play areas, the older children's play area in there. We've got maybe some garden areas over on the west side of the site. Once the parking lots are taken out, we'll put the new soccer field in over there and some outdoor play area. So that's kind of the park setting for the building, whereas the other side is more the drive-up car area. And then on the north side of the campus, we've got a bus entry over there. And I know right now there are not many buses being used for the school. And if that continues to be the case, but we'll find out. But this gives a separate location where the bus drop-off can come in, drop kids off, and parents won't be able to get back there. And faculty parking will be back on that north side of the parking, so the parking is still there. So we've tried to divide the site up where we can, have vehicular drop-off, where we can have pedestrian drop-off, outdoor play areas. We've also got another playground back in the back upper corner, kind of triangular shape. That would be more for the pre-K through first or second grade, whatever age I'll separate the kids. So the younger kids will be able to play out there. And then we've also got an outdoor learning area right there that will be used by all the students. That'll be more of an academic study type of place that you can do different things. And these are all fenced in too, so they're all controlled. So, and then you see the blue area here, which would be the storm shelter. And that's actually the gym aquarium we're putting in for the building. So Sidewise, we try to separate things out. So you've got, vehicle, pedestrian, play areas broken up, and try to make this a nice campus for the summer. All the trees on the southwest side of the building that are existing are all staying. And then we're actually adding a few more trees in that Cook Park area to kind of create more of a park setting up in there. So this is the first floor of the building. And what we're doing here is basically the drop off. The main secured entry part is over on the right where Cole was pointing out. You come into there, you go into the administrative area, which is the yellow area, check in, and before you get released into the rest of the building. And then next to that, we've got kind of a 2-story lobby space there with a potential slide that you could put in there. And that whole area to the right there, other than the administrative area, is all pre-K classrooms, early childhood special ed classrooms. And then we've got a wing that's got kindergarten classrooms, and then another wing that has first grade classrooms further to the west. And again, here you can see the outdoor learning area between the pre-K and between the kindergarten and first grade classrooms. And we'll as we continue on the process, we'll work out different things that want to be in that space. And then the play area to the upper right is the play area for this age group that's there. Then next to that, you've got the music room and the art room as you have the corridor that heads on down to the dining area. Before we get down there, the first floor of the existing building right now will be the second floor, will be the second grade classroom. And the existing library will be converted into several different special ed classrooms to in that space down there. The problem is with the new program of the district, the library is really not big enough there, and we decided to move it more into the center part of the campus to make it more centrally located. Then we're also creating a new entrance to the west, or making it, not that one, no, that off the existing building. Right there, we're creating a new main entrance there, and are closing the one that goes out to the street. So at this point, everybody exits out of the building, goes behind the fenced-in part out into that area over there. So, and the whole building, the existing building, is going to all be renovated to make it a nicer building on the space. So now go back up to the lobby, and we'll go past the music and art rooms down the corridor, and then we've got a student dining area. That's the other entry area there, the big course. That's where the pedestrian traffic, where kids are being walked to school or walk to school on their own, can come through over in there, and they also use that during the rest of the day, also, whenever the school lets them. Then when you get into there, we've got the student dining area there. It's designed to seat 150 people, and we'll probably have a wall that's more of a roll down screen device that can open up, and that student dining area could seem bigger than it really is. And then behind that, you have all the kitchen, food prep area, and things like that. Then when you get on further to the left there, you have the gymnatorium, which is the gymnasium based on the square footage that was given to us in the program. But what we've done is we have taken the stage and moved that over to the gym and created the gymnatorium so that that can be both for presentations to the community about the students, or it could be a gymnasium. And again, that whole area there is the storm shelter, tornado shelter for the school. And above that, we have a central plant space up there for all the mechanical, electrical, plumbing type of things that we need at the school. So we've tried to, segregate things. We try to have a wing, each classroom age group kind of has a wing. We've had the shared components like the art and music in the center or the administrative area. And then the student dining and the gymnatorium are all over on that side, more public space also. So this is the, when the gymnatorium is used as a gym, this is basically have the basketball courts. You've got restrooms in here. You've got student restrooms. You've got a teacher's office up above that, and storage areas for both PE and for storm shelter requirements. And then on the south side of the park, you have the large stage area with storage areas on either side of it that can be opened up for when it's used as a gymnatorium. If it's not, curtains can be drawn or whatever, or possible door coming in so you control it. And that way, right now, it's just a gymnasium space. So when you go to the possibility of a gymnatorium, one of the things we looked at doing here, we would put in retractable bleachers where it says 200 seats up there. Those will be permanent and will be mounted up against the wall. So when it's the gym, they're retracted back off the gym floor. But then when you actually have a presentation, those can come out and you can have 200 people sitting there. And then put different chairs in there to create arrangements. And again, this is just a diagram right now, it can all change, but we have about 300 seats in there right now. We've also got a runway type of space that comes off the stage out there that would be set up for when you need it for shows and otherwise be taken down and put the booth off somewhere else. The steps you see next to that on either side of that go across the whole front of that stage, and they can actually be designed so they can recess under the floor where that dashed area is for the stage and slide those out. So this gives you a way to have kind of a runway that goes out into the presentation area for the students, and then the seating around it. And again, the seating arrangements can all change how you want to do it, but this is kind of based on what we've got. And then on either side of the stage, we've got where the areas are, there's storage areas for different kinds of things that would be added to the store for the stage part. So this is a real quickie 3D image of what this stage might look, what this gymatorium might look like. Where you can see, I mean, this is, you're actually probably about 10 feet up in the air right now, but just so you can see the chairs, the runway part that could come off the stage back behind that, and all focused kind of on that part over there. This is one that we did in Fort Worth ISD for H.H. Peace Elementary School, was a gymatorium, and this is photos of this. So this is one of the ones we've done. And actually, again, we got the stage on the side, the chairs, but at the same time, you also have the basketball court that goes down the middle of it. So, you know, whether ours totally looks like this or not, but this is an example of one that we've done in Fort Worth. So when you go up to the second floor, you can see the second floor is much smaller in area. The colored areas are actually the occupiable part of the second floor. And what you do is, once you go up that center stair there, which is open down the first floor, the big orange area is the media center. And what we've done in the upper corner of that, we've created a leadership collaboration area, which is actually kind of like a stage where the kids can come in and do their different type of presentations to an audience down below that is actually in the library, media space. And so where it says media center, there'll be book shelving in there. We can also do arrangements of shelves and chairs and stuff. And then the room down in the lower left-hand corner, that'd be more like the work area for the library. And then to the left of that is a collaborative area we've got in that space. And then the classrooms up above to the right, I've called these third grade classrooms. They could be fourth or fifth grade, it doesn't matter. Again, we have each grade kind of grouped together. And one of the things we've changed on this is we now have it set up where we have 3 science rooms and 3 classrooms for each one of these wings, so that you can have teachers teaching one and move to the other back and forth. So you have kind of a Spanish-English relationship being going on each one of those things. The wing on the left there is another classroom wing. Again, that's got another little collaborative area there. We have both the first floor, we've got restrooms right there, and right to the bottom of that we have a teacher's restroom and a teacher's workroom for both floors. I didn't point that out on the first floor, but there's ones right there on the floor right down below. So those are all centrally located within all the academic areas of the building. The yellow areas on this part to the left where the counselor's office is and testing part of it. And then as you come on down into the existing wing, we actually had an extra classroom left over. So what we've done on this one is we've put the maker space out there, and we'll take down the wall on the corridor wall and put a glass wall in so you can actually see in there. But this is one of the spaces that is in the program for schools for the ISD. So that'll become a cool space there. And that room already had a storage room, so it worked out good for the storage for the maker space area. And then again, on this one, we've come in and retrofitted in 3 science rooms there. Actually, one of them may already be a science room. We've got 3 science rooms in there, and then the other 3 classrooms. And then the yellow area at the bottom is the book room, so existing book room. So we've tried to make this set up so that you kind of have each grade all working together. You've got a couple of collaborative areas up here, and you got the maker space area, and then that media center is kind of a central located, becomes a real focal point to the layout of the campus. So we're going to start talking about the exterior appearance of the building. And these are some inspirational images we've received. And trying to make this thing more of a traditional collegiate type of look, since you are an academy type of facility versus a regular elementary school, and trying to create kind of this collegiate environment of how the kids be trained at the school. And the one on the left also has a lighthouse component on it too, which we found very intriguing, and we're going to apply that to the school. So this is our overall 3D view of the building, and what you can see is the parking lot down on the lower part of the screen. That's the vehicular drop-off part. The part of the building with the gray roof, and the gray roof won't say gray, but that's the existing building. And what we're going to do on that is we're going to replace windows. We're going to totally reclad the building. Right now we're thinking of probably a thin set brick to come back and reclad it. And then to the right of that, you've got the new entry canopy, big large entry canopy we have there to provide shelter for kids as you're getting ready to drop them off with the cars. Behind that is the lighthouse, which will be the main focal point of the building. And one of our concerns there is this new entry has gotten so far back away from the street. I think the use of the lighthouse is really cool because it gives a chance to create kind of a focal point to say, hey, this is the entry to the building. And then to the right of that is all part of the media center. And then you can see the classroom wings further up on the right. And then on the left, we've got a classroom wing that kind of goes over there. And then you can kind of see our second entry and colonnade and porch right there. It'll be more the pedestrian, everyday type of entry. And then the big garden space outside of that. And then the gymatorium is to the left of that. So we've kind of got the primary entry, we have the lighthouse part like that, and really become a focal point. And then that part would be another part would be more of a pedestrian user type of space. So. And then as you go down more to a ground level view, this kind of shows the whole area again. Trying to work with the buildings and trying to make this more of a traditional college type of look to the space. And then what we've done here is this is one of the things we looked at too, was to put the name of the school out there on the south face of the existing building. So in this one, we've got Marcus Leadership Academy. As I understand, this is supposed to be changing to that name. If it doesn't, that's fine too. But basically, these would be cut out letters on the face of the building. And we've also added some cast stone looking coins on the corners of the building to give it a little bit more classical, collegiate type of look. And as you look back behind it, you can see the lighthouse part back at the back. And that can actually be lit up at night. You can actually have kind of this light beacon there, like a lighthouse at night. And we've also added an arched window into that, what's now a collaborative area on the second level. And then down on the first floor, down underneath, where the canopy, you see some doors back in there. That's actually the main entry to the building. And then this is the another perspective view of that area. Back on the plan, one of the things I said science labs, these are going to actually be STEM labs. So, when you start talking, sometimes you carry on and find out about stuff you may have not said right earlier. But so the science labs will actually, I was calling something, they're actually just STEM labs, and they'll be used for teaching both math and science. So anyway, this is the scheme that's the traditional collegiate scheme. And one of the things we'll be voting on is this, have y'all, weigh in on is, does this kind of look something you might do? The brick colors can all change. We can do more detail again, just in the time period we've had, trying to get something that you can kind of get an idea of what the building might look like. This side is what you look at. This is from the southwest side. This would be more the pedestrian entry part. And again, you can see the existing building over on the right. Cole's pointing out the diagonal sidewalk coming in. One thing about this side too is right now, you don't see any of the trees. So it's going to be much more of a park-like feeling because there are going to be a bunch of trees in both existing trees and new trees are going to be planted. So this is going to feel much more like a park part of a collegiate campus, you would say. And then that's the entry point back there. And then the gymatorium is on the left. And there's a lighthouse back beyond. And then this is more of a view, just kind of focusing more on the entry point. For the lobby that's outside, we go into there. The lobby that's outside the cafeteria dining room, we have the upper windows up there too to let more light into that area. It creates a nice space. So this is the other main entry to the building. So the other version we've been looking at, and based on other inspirational photos we've gotten, is the Thompson School. That we're calling this the more contemporary version of the school. But we try to incorporate some of these ideas in here: bigger windows, maybe some color brick panels on, maybe some sunshades on the plan. But we use the same plan. But now we'll go to the. So this is back to that one again. And what we've done is we've kind of done a little more contemporary looking things in some parts of the building. Plan wise, it's all the same building. It just has a little bit different feel to it. We'll also be skinning the existing building, just like we were in the other, with just a little bit different look. So this would be the ground level view from North Haven, looking back up that way. And again, what you'd see on this one, instead of the metal roof up on top, I was looking at maybe putting a metal panels up there to create more of a contemporary look. On this one, we also, instead of having the arched window, we're looking at putting in a round window. This is actually a 12-foot diameter window. That'll be at that area up there, so it'll become a focal point. We've also tried to incorporate some of their school colors with the blue and red into like a blue band on the brick, blue columns and red around the circle. And again, you got the lighthouse up above that. And then on this other part of here, we'll go on the next slide. With this one, we've done a little bit more contemporary looking signage. What we did on this one was basically the idea of taking metal panels on the corner of the existing building and actually backlighting them and cutting out markers in there. So you have cutout letters versus applied letters. And then on the other side, we still call that Leadership Academy there. So this is another view. As you enter into the drive to come drop your kids off, you're driving in, you'll get this sense of Marcus Leadership Academy focusing out on North Haven with the lighthouse tower back behind and the red circular window back behind there. And then these are some other views, just because on this one, we also changed some of the windows a little bit to make them a little bit bigger. We don't have the cast stone on this part anymore. We've actually taken some of these windows and wrapped them around the corner on the east side of the building. And then we go to the next side, it's kind of back to the same thing. We got metal panels on the entry point there. And a little bit different what we did the brick. This is all stuff we can work out again as we kind of get into it further. But I think the point we get there, we'll actually have a time that we'll come in and actually have brick panels that everybody can look at and pick out what brick panels we want to try to do on the building and things like that. So, and then that'd be the pedestrian entrance back into there as you walk through the trees, and the children's play area be over on the right, the upper grades over there, and the art room is right there. I just point out that art room right there too. It's got glass, and it can open out into that play area too. For an area having everything, do some outdoor work stuff out there too. So that's kind of the end of our presentation right now. What we've got 3 polls. Now, if you have a question, we'll get to questions too. We have 3 polls we're trying to go through. Poll number 1 was, do we want to go more traditional? Do we want to go more contemporary, or neither? Or something else that we haven't got shown here right now. And then,
Okay, you wanted me to go ahead and launch this poll right now?
yeah, we can, yes.
Okay, great. The poll is launched right now.
Okay.
And the voting is started.
Good. And then the other one, we go ahead and do the other polling question too, because it's okay.
We have about another 30 seconds or so before this poll will end.
Okay.
Okay. 26. Okay, everyone is in. We're here. Okay, we're going to end the poll, and we definitely have a winner here. And as you can see by, I think everyone can see the poll now. Let me show the results. Contemporary is the contemporary design is the overall favorite with 17 out of 26 people polling, 65% favoring the contemporary over the traditional design, and about 2 people who didn't like either one of them. Would anyone care to go off mute at this time or enter into chat a comment of why someone who supported the contemporary design, what you liked about it, what was moved by it? You can go off mute at this time. If you want to raise your hand, you can do so by using the reactions button at the bottom screen of your screen, or you can simply go off mute at this time and share your thoughts as to someone who voted for the contemporary design. Okay, seeing no comments, we're going to go ahead and move forward then. Thank you for participating in the first poll.
Okay, the other poll, let me say one thing about the traditional versus contemporary. If there's something about the contemporary you really like or don't like, or the traditional really like, that we could possibly swing them back and forth, we could conceivably say, like if the contemporary ones we will go with, we could take some kind of traditional element and apply it to the contemporary one also. So I think there is some flexibility in there as we continue on. But.
Okay, so if anyone who liked the traditional design or an element of the traditional design, at this point, if you wanted to go off mute and share what you liked about one or the other, or what you'd like to see incorporated from the traditional into the contemporary, you can do so at this time as well. Okay, thank you, Vincent Clemens. Said I would have chosen D, a blend of the traditional and the contemporary. Thank you for your remarks. And I hear someone off mute now. If you want to go ahead and make your comments.
So this is Edwin.
Yes.
And I voted for the traditional. I like the idea of that pitched roof. That pitched roof could be put onto the contemporary. I think that would be a good blend of the two.
Very definitely. I'm just trying to show something different.
Okay, great. And
yes, thank you.
Yeah, and we actually have the similar comment in the chat section that is there an option to consider having the contemporary design, but with the roof combined with the roof of the traditional.
Yeah, great minds think alike.
There you go.
I think that'd be great. Like I say, I only showed it this way to show something different. I think it looked great that way.
Okay, great. Does anyone else want to share comments at this particular time, or suggestions or thoughts at this time? Okay, if not, we'll go back to your presentation.
Did Mr. Romero raise his hand?
Mr. Romero, did you raise your hand? Please go off mute.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Yes, I just want to echo the sentiment, Mr. Clemos, Mr. Cordova, Trustee Flores. I see great elements on both that bringing a mixture of both of the elements that we like on the traditional and the contemporary, or bringing the traditional into the contemporary in some areas is going to be a win, definitely. So I think that we're in the money as far as some creative designs that are found on both of the designs that we can mix into a final very pleasing design.
Great comments. Okay, if you want to go on with the presentation.
Okay.
Oh.
The second polling one is about the signage.
Okay.
Do we want to do the traditional one where it's, again, these could be on either scheme, but all of the B might be harder on the traditional. But the idea of coming in and putting the applied letters on the sign, or coming in and doing the more bold market statement on the corner that's closer to the lighthouse beyond, and kind of creates that kind of statement.
And just to be clear, so everyone understands, this would not be a signage that would be a standalone. This would be in addition to the traditional marquee sign that all of our schools have. So this would not be a replacement for the traditional marquee signs that we have at our campus. This would just be an added feature to this particular building. The poll has been launched and we see people are responding. Well, I tell you what, Mr. Alfred, when we told the Marcus community to think big and bold, innovative, and generational, they took us seriously because they are boldly choosing with this particular option. They are saying that they prefer option B. So way to go, Marcus community, for embracing that thinking big idea. As you can see from our polling results, with 24 out of 24 people were polling, the option B is a clear lead at 79% with 19 people voting. Option A comes in at 17% and neither at 4%. Let's go to one person said they didn't like either one of them. If that person would like to share that comment or a suggestion of what they would, is it the fact that you prefer one or the other, a blending of the two, so we can kind of get some input on that. Or if anyone else who voted on the exterior signage would like to make comments at the time, please raise your hand and we can go ahead and let you go off mute and make a comment. Okay, seeing no comments right now, we'll go ahead and you can continue with what we have next. Oh, someone said B makes a statement. Thank you. Said that B makes a statement and they love it. Again, Marcus leading the way with bold, innovative design ideas.
Yeah. And that sign's only going to be right near the street too, so you can definitely see it, see where it is.
They said B makes another comment that B makes the building look larger.
I think in some ways it does too.
Great feedback, great feedback. Kate, do we have anything else? Okay, we're up to questions now. So we wanted to hear from you again. Your voice is important to Dallas ISD as we design and shape our new schools. The focus we've had for this particular bond program has been to think big, bold, innovative, and generational. We want to make sure that we're servicing schools and building new schools that can stand the test of time, just as the existing Herbert Marcus has done, and serve generations of students. So at this time, we're open to any questions and comments. If you would like to raise your hand or simply go off mute and ask any questions or share any comments, you can do so at this time. And you can also place your comments in the chat room. Well, let's start a conversation. Mr. Cordoba, Principal Romero, what are your thoughts right now? What are you sharing? How are you feeling right now?
Go ahead, Mr. Cordova.
No, go ahead, Jonathan, and then I'll chime in. You as the principal, please.
Thank you, Mr. Cordova. Well, my first question is the images. I understand that we're doing the school colors, and it might be a feature of the slideshow, but the features that look they look purple in color a little bit, where in a contrast with a more bluish tinge, and so it's throwing me off a little bit. So I'm not sure if this is just on my end or a design feature, and so that would be my first question. But as far as the comments, I'm very happy to see that a blend of traditional and contemporary is what's on the table, and I definitely would like to encourage Marcus staff members to jump in and share and raise their hand and participate.
Okay, we do have a couple of questions coming through in the chat room, but let me address the issue of color first. Communications team works very closely with our designers to ensure that the school's PMS colors are used. So even though sometimes the on-screen images seem a little bit off, we make sure that all of our design teams and our construction teams use the official school colors when selecting color schematics for the school. So even though they may look a little off, the final product will be the correct color. We can ensure that. Now we do have a question here that Mr. Clemens would like to know if the community can vote on the color palettes. Mr. Clement, do you mean the color palette, the brick color palettes, or the color palettes used within the school?
The outer color palettes.
Okay.
Bricks,
Okay.
or whatever is outside.
Okay, great. So let me ask the design team, is that something that would take place at this meeting or at a future meeting?
I'd say let's do it at a future meeting. What we did on this one, the traditional plan, the design, we tried to kind of match that image that had the lighthouse effect on top of it. And this one, we tried to kind of match the brick that was on the Thompson School images. This is something we can definitely do in the next phase. And, you know, again, this was something we're just trying to show ideas. So there's definitely things we can do with the brick colors later on. And as far as the blue stuff, yes, the computer image, what it does right now, it shifted it so it does look a little bit more purpley looking. But that would definitely be the market's colors for the blue part I have in there. So I think all this brick stuff and ultimate colors and you know, that can be achieved in the next phase of the design. So.
Right. Yeah. So everyone knows that the process is very lengthy to design buildings as you've been participating. We're right now what we call the masking phase. So it's more about building placement, overall design, look and feel of the buildings, and the details. As you can tell, if you've been along with the process, each meeting we get a little bit down further in the weeds with a little bit more details and a little bit more definition about where we're going. So the color palettes will definitely be included in the next meeting. Mr. Hernandez.
What I want to do also is to make sure we actually have actual brick panels and stuff like that, so you actually see real materials and not just ones we created on the computer.
Perfect. Mr. Hernandez says that I love the new designs, but is there any way the staff parking is not sharing the same interest as the student drop-off? Sorry,
well, right now, what we've got is more than half of the faculty parking would all enter off of Dennis Road. And what we've got shown, we actually have a fence that cuts across the road on the east side of the building to keep parents from trying to drive down that road. So the only time that would open up is when you have a fire truck going through or a bus going through there. I think we could add some more parking on the backside. To me, you need some parking out in front too. So I was kind of picturing the parking in front, a combination of visitor parking and faculty parking. But if we want to get it all in the back, we would have to go back up there where Cole has the arrow right now, because that's really about the only place you could put any more faculty parking. We can move that guard play area down and put some more parking back in there to try to get more faculty parking. But right now, my idea is that the faculty parking be separated. Most of it be separated entry from the parent drop off and stuff.
Okay. So just because we had a few people who joined us, I think after the slide was presented, what you're seeing right now to the lower left-hand side with the red arrows, right there, that would actually be the pedestrian drop off for parents who are walking their kids to school. Am I correct?
Yes.
And then on the right-hand side, where you see that larger parking lot, that's actually the parent drop-off if you're driving through to drop your children off at school?
Correct.
So then the faculty parking is at the rear of the building, so it is separated from the student drop-off currently. Okay.
And those arrows up there are just for the bus drop-off if it happens that way. If not, faculty can drive into their parking space and then at the end of the day, turn back and go back out the other way. So.
Right. And again, looking at building generationally, while we understand the fact that the school currently does not have any buses to drop off, we are designing, the school is being designed for the future and for future growth and anticipating the need for, and in the future, some point in time to have buses, whether they be for our SPED students or they be for other students who live a little bit further away from the school. So we want to make sure the designs are, again, generational and meet the needs, not just at the current campus, but the future as well. Anyone else have any comments or questions? Or did you miss anything and join us later and want to see something else in more detail?
Aren't there other entries that aren't labeled here? Like there's a second entry on the pedestrian side for the existing building, right?
We are actually eliminating that. Are you talking about on the west side of the building?
Yes, sir, right where the mouse arrow is.
Okay, yes, that would be a pedestrian entry, but that would just be behind the fence. So I think what we're trying to focus on is where if they're coming in the morning to school, they'd be going in that entrance for the main entrance there, or on the other side. The other entrance, that was really just kind of more of a get to the play area and to close the door that currently goes out to the south straight to North Haven and close that one off and have everybody stay behind the fence over there. There's also another outdoor entrance that goes between the existing building and right there's another entrance exit out there. And there also is one back there by the storm shelter, a couple of them over there. And each quarter has an entry at the end of it. But again, trying to keep them all under control.
Okay, we have another question. How many staff parking spaces are considered in the back and side of the building?
Quick call, you count them. I don't remember how many out the back there.
But there are sufficient for the current staffing needs of the school?
There may be for right now. I suspect you're going to be some people are going to be parking in front unless we expand the parking back in the back.
Okay. So, okay. Do we have any other questions coming forward? Okay, it seems like our questions have kind of winding down. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Alfred for next steps.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Bell. I enjoyed this conversation and just re-engage everybody. You know, we've kind of accomplished what I wanted as far as getting our building footprint down. I don't see that moving anymore. So I'm going to have the architect team kind of continue with some of our outside design and come back to you guys in January, February, so we can talk more about that exterior color palette. You know, they should be at what we call the design development stage at that point, where we're kind of making those choices, having more polished rendering. In between that time, though, we will be meeting with Principal Romero and whatever staff he has to also talk about the interiors. There are a lot of choices to be made on the interiors and how we want it to look. And I really want to get the teachers involved with that and the parents. But yeah, I'm excited, you know, with some of the choices we made and blending the traditional and the contemporary. So that'll be, like I say, you'll see us again, January, February timeframe. And then in April, I got a big surprise for, you know, all the schools. That's Architecture Month. So I'm going to talk to my architects first and, like I say, save it as a big surprise for everybody in April. So appreciate you guys' time. And Ms. Bell, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. And again, it's our pleasure to be able to hear from the community as we help to design and shape the future of Dallas ISD schools. With that being said, Dr. Flores, would you like to make any closing remarks?
Sure. I want to thank everybody for participating and for your input. I want to thank the architects for the great work, the staff, everybody who's involved. Hopefully, you believe as I do that they're hearing us loud and clear, and that the community is being heard in this process, and that you feel that you're part of this process to make a school that, as Ms. Bell says, is generational. And so we're very, very excited about that. I think the overall design is looking awesome. I think the exteriors that we're selecting are great. Maybe a blend with that pitched roof. I'm the one, I like the pitched roof. What can I say? But really, thank you everybody for participating. I look forward to you participating in the next meeting and encouraging more people to participate as we work through this process. So thank you very much, Brent, the leadership of the school, Mr. Romero. Just thank you everybody for participating.
Thank you again for joining us tonight, Dr. Flores. I want to remind everyone that you can keep track of this and other Bond 2020 projects by going to dallasisd.org/Bond 2020. There is a project page dedicated there to the Marcus project, and that's where you'll be able to track the project all the way until we are actually there for our building dedication when this school is open. All the information will be contained right there. I encourage you, if you know of someone who needs to know about the meeting or wants to be included, you can actually email bondcom, that's BONDCOM, at dallasisd.org, send their contact information. We'll make sure that they're included in information about future meetings. And I also encourage everyone to please go in and share the information and share that webpage with your family, with your friends, with your neighbors, and the other people that are involved with the in and around the Marcus community. With that being said, I want to go to our executive director for closing remarks.
Thank you again, Ms. Bell. So again, very, very excited about the feedback that our architects took from the last meeting that we had and a few other meetings in between. So very pleased, excited about the building and what is in store for our students at Marcus Leadership Academy. So again, thank you for making time to be here with us today. Thank you, Brent, also for pushing forward and making this, the reality as the progress is coming right along. And of course, Mr. Romero, again, for your leadership and everything that you guys are doing to make some great things happen for all of our little guys at Marcus. So again, thank you, teachers, for making the time, staff members for making the time to be here tonight. Enjoy the rest of the evening and turn it over to Ms. Bell.
And thank you again for your leadership as well. We're so excited for our future our Marcus Mustangs and those to come along following this one. And of course, the leadership of this great principal for this great school. We're going to end the evening with closing remarks by Principal Romero.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Thank you, Executive Director Cordova and Trustee Flores. I would like to also extend a heartfelt thank you to the architect firm. It is evident to me that you took into account all of the desires and comments heard on the last two community meetings by our staff and our parents. I could see, even though it was not mentioned, I was looking specifically for the restrooms, and I saw restrooms for staff on the first floor, restrooms for staff on the second floor, and that's something that has been voiced consistently by our staff members. Even though it was not particularly mentioned, I was able to see them. Also, special attention to the gymatorium, that in the last two meetings, the auditorium conversation was brought to the table. And this compromise, what we know as thinking win-win, we were able to see how you brought that to the design. So thank you for working with us. Thank you for listening and to finding a way for Marcus to be the beacon or the lighthouse in our community. I'm very excited to continue working with you. I'm very excited to continue working with the community and of course our staff to provide to our children the best possible education. And I appreciate everybody taking the time to, after work, come together so we can enjoy and dream together about the best school ever, Marcus Leadership Academy.
Fantastic. And again, on behalf of Dallas ISD and Dallas ISD Bond Services, we want to thank you again for joining us this evening. We look forward to hearing from you in the future and for you joining us on additional meetings. With that being said, we wish you a great evening and have a great night. Goodbye.